Just so you know, Barry's actually here, but his link didn't work, so he's going to go first. Barry's actually here, but his link didn't work, so he's going to go first, okay? So he's right here.
Hi there. First to let you know, I've lived in the Happy Valley area for 55 years, my whole life. Went to the original Happy Valley, grew up through the entire school district. My mom was one of the founders of the very first PTA. I'm here, I'm a single dad of a 15-year-old that goes to Adrian Nelson. I'm just going to give you a little story. I know we've talked about vaccine mandates and stuff. My son was one of the unfortunate ones that has had severe repercussions from it. About 2 days after he got his vaccine, it was the Pfizer, he came into my room complaining that his chest hurt. I told him, I said, it's probably something you did at football. Go lay down, it'll get better. He comes back in, he goes, no, something's really wrong. We end up going to the ER. The doctor says this is an instance of the vaccine. It has been known to happen in young males. So he now has endocardiosis, which is inflammation of the chambers inside the lining. He now has pericardiosis, which is both the heart and the sac around it. That first night, he had to sleep sitting straight up and down because the inflammation would hit the back of his rib cage. So he couldn't lay flat. They prescribed us Advil and Tylenol, sent us home. Got there at about 11:30 at night, got home 6:30 in the morning. The following day, we kind of just monitored it. Everything seemed to be getting better, and then about 8 o'clock that night, he goes, Dad, it's hurting again, really bad, almost in tears. And I said, well, go do what the doctor says, sit straight up. He goes, I've tried that, but he says something else is different. Now, I want you guys to think of this as your kid is telling you this. He says, my whole left side is numb. As a parent, I'm trying not to panic and show him that I'm scared. So I said, get in the car. We went back to the ER. This time we went straight back. We never left for another 8 hours, hooked up to monitors, all of this other BS that was going on. Kaiser doesn't have a pediatric cardiologist, so then they referred us to OHSU. So in about 4 days, we went to OHSU. We're there for almost 6 hours doing tests and interviews. He was one of 2 cases that they had known so far. In that week's time, there were 12 new cases that showed up at OHSU. So it's not as uncommon as they like you to believe. This is my son here. This is what they had to send home. It's a heart monitor. He had to wear this for a day and a half so that they could get a baseline of his heart and how it is acting up. Long story short, he seems to be recovering, but they still have not given me any indication that there's any long-term harm to this. They said it could be 6 months before we see any kind of progress. Again, he plays football at Adrian Nelson. He just started wrestling. We have to monitor it very closely to make sure. He's 15. He doesn't know when to stop. That's kind of my story. What I'd like to ask and kind of put out to you as board members, if you are really thinking about making this a mandate, I would like you to get on the record and say, we will pay any cost medically or long-term care if you make this a mandate. I'm looking at $6,000. That's just 2 emergency rooms. Yeah. If you're not willing to do that, they muted me. Of course it is. Yes.
Yeah, sure you are.